everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I wanted to remake the avocado squishy that I actually made a year ago. So I just wanted to show you the avocado that I first made. Now this is not the best squishy I've ever made. This was actually the first squishy that I ever did, and it kind of went really horrible. I don't really know what happened to it. I think what I did was I fan dried the puffy paint, so it all kind of bubbled up, and yeah. The squishiness of it was really good, but yeah, I wanted to remake it anyway. So to remake the avocado, I then took a piece of memory foam and just drew a rough avocado type shape onto it using a felt liner. I did actually make this really fat, as one of the problems with my first avocado was that he was like a bit slim. So he was kind of like really long and really skinny, which I didn't really like. So what I then did was cut the back of the foam off, because my foam was actually a bit too thick to work with, and I think my foam is 5 inches, so I kind of cut it down to about 3-inch thickness. I then cut roughly around the shape that I just drew out onto the foam. Once I had the rough shape, I then kind of turned it to its side and then made long snips away from the middle of the back of it, so that it was kind of like a 3D shape of an avocado, but as if the avocado was kind of cut in half, if that makes any sense. And once I kind of had the rough shape of this, I then went in with my scissors, making little tiny snips all around to kind of smooth it out. You'll want to just keep doing this over and over and over until you're happy with the overall smoothness of the shape. Once I had the main shape, I then went ahead and just compared it to the last one, and as you can see here, it's a lot fatter. So I don't know what's wrong with my memory foam here, but this is the new piece that I bought from eBay not so long ago, and it's not very slow rising. And I mean, I know memory foam's supposed to be slow rising, but this piece just isn't, so I don't know if I bought a wrong piece or something, but I don't really know. Anyway, so what I did was I took a offcut and I just drew out a circle and rounded this out to make the avocado seed. Once happy with the little seed shape, I then went ahead and hot glued this onto the middle of the avocado, kind of in the same place that I did on the previous one. Once hot glued in place, I then took some green paint and I mixed this with the tulip lime green and some white of the puffy paint and the slick, and I just mixed this together in a little plastic container and just used one of my Fimo clay tools just to smooth it out all the way around the front of the avocado. You could also use a lollipop stick or anything else that you have, but I just like these clay tools as the paint doesn't really stick to it that much and it doesn't really waste it like a paintbrush would, for example. Then I left that to dry and just moved on and did another coat. Whilst that layer was completely done but still wet, I then moved on with my tulip metallic fabric paint in the colour gold, and what I did was I just went around the seed with this colour. I just squeezed this out and then kind of just like smudged it in with my finger for the first layer. I did this while the green was dry so that they would kind of dry about the same time. Now I did actually do quite a messy job of this gold colour, so what I did was I went back in with some of that green puffy paint again, and I just kind of neatened up the edge of the gold with this on my Fimo tool again. Once this layer had completely dried, I then went ahead and did a third layer of the green onto the green part, and I did a second layer of gold onto the seed. As you can see here, on my second layer of the gold, I added lots and lots and lots of puffy paint, and I just smoothed this out with my Fimo tool at the end instead of using my finger to work it into the sponge. I did lots of this so that it would dry really nice and metallic. Once dry, as you can see here, it's a lot more shiny. Anyway, so what I did then was I took a darker green colour and I just used the same lime white puffy paint as before, but I added a little bit of blue puffy paint to it also. I then took this colour and painted all the edge around the light green colour that we just did, and I then painted that colour all the way around the back of the squishy. Just did this by taking a little bit on the Fimo tool and kind of patting it into the sponge. Once the back of the squishy had completely dried, I then moved on and painted on the face. So as usual, I took some black puffy paint and just painted my eyes with my dotting tool, and I added 2 little bits of white for the highlight. I also made a little mouth in between the eyes with black puffy paint. Now the reason I did the face up here this time was because before I tried to squish it in down below the seed and it just didn't work out, so I ended up having to put a really small face, and this is not what I wanted to do this time. Once I did this face, I kind of realised how much it kind of looked like Fat Pawpaw's Jumbo Avocado's face, which I'm not being mad about because I think it's super cute, but I love it anyway. Anyway, so then I went in with some light pink slick paint and I just painted on 2 bits of blush either side of the eyes. Once the pink paint had fully dried, my squishy remake was then complete. So I'm super happy with how this squishy turned out. I think it's so much cuter than the one I made before, but the only thing is, like I said about my memory foam, like I don't really know what's happened. Like I must have bought the wrong one or something, but I looked through my orders and it definitely was like said it was memory foam, so I'm kind of disappointed with the density of it. So I might have to try and get like another piece once I've used up this piece, obviously, because I bought a huge piece, which is kind of disappointing with how slow rising it is. So my first squishy was definitely more slow rising in comparison to this one. My first one was also a little bit harder, whereas this new one is super soft and super squishy. So they are completely different. But I'm really happy with how this one that I made today turned out, because honestly I think it's so much cuter, and I'd probably have this one out at my desk just to kind of look at it because I love it that much. The colours are also different, like mine's more pastel that I made today rather than last year. I think the colours are more realistic from last year, but they're obviously much cuter in today's. So yeah, let me know in the comments which one you prefer. If you like the one that I made today or like the one that I made last year. Obviously I like the slow rising list of last year, but you know, what can we do? So I just want to give another shout out to all the people that have subscribed over the last couple of days. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or any requests, anything like that, just leave them in the comments below. I try to reply to all comments. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!